for the recording, I guess. I'm Brent Kappenman, right here from Seattle area. That way, I think. This is going to be a lot of interactive back and forth, and I don't want to make this very formal. More than anything else, I kind of want to answer questions and kind of just go through it. Full, complete disclosure here. I really have only called from my phone a couple times where, for some reason, my laptop won't boot, or my battery's dead and my power supply's in the car and I'm up to call next or whatever. That would be called lack of preparation. This is not a presentation on that. But more than anything else, I just want to answer questions that people have. I've got, now in the thing it said, I think, what does it say? It says how to use your phone. I'm not going to teach you how to use your phone. Everybody should know how to use their phone. You dial a number, you pick it up.
Ask your grandchild.
Yeah, so exactly. I'm not going to teach you how to use your phone. I'm sorry. So, but I do have a question. First question is, I see an iPhone there. Let's see. You're on a Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
So you're an iPhone. You're an iPhone. You're an iPhone. You're Android. You're Android. Just curiosity. iPhone. What do you want? Gonna look at the label. Samsung. Okay, that's an Android.
iPhone.
Android. iPhone.
Android.
Android. So kind of a 50-50 split. So I'm actually going to look to you guys for some of this too, because I'm not much of an Apple guy, but I do know that you can. Basically, the primary things that you need to be able to call from your phone are: one, you need a music player of some type. The second thing is you probably want to be able to adjust the tempo and control the tempo of the music you're playing. And the great thing, for those of you that use SquareView actually has a version that will run on your phone, and that's what I have on here. And I'll kind of go through that.
iPhones?
I don't think there's an iPhone version. There may be.
No.
There's not. So I don't think there's an iPhone version of SquareView. At some point he may come out with one, but right now, all I know is there's a Windows version and there's an Android version. So I'm going to kind of focus on that. But I do know that there are, like, and you'll have to kind of search around with this, but I can kind of get you steered in the right direction if you're running an iPhone, or even like an iPad or something like that. Some DJs have little portable apps that they'll even run, like the little DJ app on their phone. And basically, you pull it up and it looks like a couple little turntables there, and they can do all the scratching and stuff like that. Obviously, you don't want that for square dancing, but what you can use that for is to adjust your tempo. And there's usually a slider on there. You can do beats per minute and just adjust your tempo and just kind of slide that back and forth to get it dialed into the right tempo. For those of you that kind of pre-process all your music, like Rem likes to set all his right about where he wants it. I, on the other hand, I buy the music, I drop it on my computer, I adjust it where I want it, I save it, and then depending on what dance or whatever I'm calling, I'll adjust the tempo at the dance if it needs to be adjusted up or down. Rem, on the other hand, he gets his dial where he wants it and he sticks with that. So he could probably take a song, drop it on his iPhone, play it right there, wouldn't be an issue. Me, on the other hand, I'm probably going to have to adjust the tempo. So on the Android app, and again, I'll just kind of show this to you, this SquareView, and I'm going to kind of hold it up close here, but basically you'll go out to the store, the Play Store, Google Play Store. If you're on Android, on the Apple side of it, it's going to be the App Store, if there's something similar. But what I would look for is like DJ or music. Go ahead. Did you want to say
There's
something?
one called Tempo Slow-Mo, and it does all of the same stuff as SquareView, except for it doesn't cue music, but you can add playlists.
So there you go. So there's a Tempo Slow-Mo.
Yes, and it doesn't do one of the things that SquareView does. I don't remember which one, whether it's pitch or tempo or speed or whatever. But it does have a 99-cent add-on for that one item that it's lacking. So
for 99 cents you can get the standard version of software is free,
right.
Tempo Slow-Mo, and then for that add-on for 99 cents you get the ability to.
I think it's I'm not. I don't think it's speed or tempo. It might be the
maybe
queuing
pitch or something, or queuing or something else.
Yeah,
like
something.
That.
I don't remember.
So to kind of go that, why would you need queuing? For those of you who are just in the session next door that Rem went through, why would I want queuing? Well, the last thing you want to do, and I am a bad example because this is exactly what happened to me. I was at our state festival here, and I had my phone out, and I was going to be all cool and everything. Didn't have my computer, and I'm like, oh, no problem. Cue the music all up, boom, ready to play, and it didn't play. So why would you want to queue it up? Well, you queue your songs up so you put your pattern music in and put your singing call in, and then all you got to do is boom, hit the next song, boom, hit the next song, and you're ready to go. So on this one, and I'll just kind of I mean, it looks very similar to SquareView. If you've seen SquareView, you've got the ability to hit your cue, add music. You've got your beats per minute, pitch. It's kind of a scaled down version of SquareView, just for those of you. Now, some of you may say, well, why would I want to do this from my phone? Well, for one, you can see how big my computer is. Maybe I don't want to lug that around into a dance if I'm just calling a guest tip. The other thing is it kind of goes back to the old days of when you were carrying your records in. You know, you don't want to go to a guest caller's dance and lug your computer in and set it down next to the stage and say, hey, I'm here to call. You know, you can be a little bit more discreet with your phone in your pocket than lugging a big piece of equipment like this.
You don't want to leave it in your car.
And you don't want to leave it in your car either. Exactly. So this is one way to do that. Now the cool thing about this one is it actually has the ability to do a loop. So if you're going to do a loop, set a loop, you can do that. Again, you can do pitch, so if you want to change the key, so if maybe your voice isn't where it needs to be for doing a singing call or whatever, you can adjust the pitch up and down accordingly for the night if your voice is feeling a little low or whatever. So that's kind of that. Now, one thing to keep in mind is if you've got music on, you have to have your music on your phone because there's a key thing you want to do. There's a thing called airplane mode. Make sure if you're going to call from your phone, you put it in airplane mode. Because I have had texts come in, and especially, this is really important, is if you have your texts read out loud, make sure your phone is in airplane mode. No, nothing ever bad ever happened, but you can kind of see where I'm going with that. So just make sure you put your phone in airplane mode. Now here's the other catch. Before you put your phone in airplane mode, make sure that you've downloaded the song that you're going to use first. Because once you put it in airplane mode, you have no connection to the internet. You can't download your music, so it just doesn't work. So put your phone in airplane mode, and how do you do that? Well, at least on Android anyways, you just swipe down at the top, you scroll all the way over to the left, and typically there's just a little airplane button there. You hit the airplane, and now you're in airplane mode. So basically, it'll save your battery, and you know it's what you do when you go on an airplane. So you can cue songs up. So how does this work? So basically, what you do is you hit the cue button on this, and then as you can see, I've got a whole bunch of different songs on here. You just pick a song on here. Let's see here. I've got here we go. So you pick a song. It puts it into the queue down at the bottom. So that's the next song up that I'm going to get ready to play. I hit the play button, and then that song's ready to go. Now you can even have lyrics on this too. This is Shakira Waka Waka. I use this for Pat or sometimes. But you can even actually tie in your lyrics too. So if you really, really want to get like, oh my gosh, I can't remember the words of the song, you can actually pull up the lyrics and call right off your phone. How often do I do that? Not very often. The other thing is, more than likely, if you're doing a guest tip, you're probably going to do the singing call that you know the best for your best tip because you want to present yourself the best. So more than likely, you're not going to need the lyrics. And besides that, if I had to do that, I'd have to reach down like this. Go like this, go like this. Okay, I'm ready to call. And you know, we don't want to do that. So that's again, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You know, it says using your phone. I think that's kind of a misnomer for this. I actually think that it's more of using a mobile device. Now, for me, you know, a laptop now you can get laptops for $300. You can get laptops for $3,000, depending on what you're going to buy. I'm going to jump around a little bit because I don't want to just talk about the phone. Important thing about when you're buying a laptop, just because you bought the $300 laptop doesn't mean, I mean, yeah, it was $300, but you get what you pay for. Be very careful when you're buying laptops because some of these laptops, the sound cards in them are terrible. And it's going to make your music sound really, really bad. Same thing with the phone. If you've got a cheap $50 phone and you put SquareView on it and it's got lousy audio coming out, you're just taking that, you know, garbage in, garbage out. You're taking that bad audio, you run it into your PA. Now, if you don't have one of those little matching transformers that Hilton has, you may not have enough power coming out of this to power your speakers. So test this before you go to somebody else's dance and try it. Make sure that it actually does what you plan on it doing. Come back to the computer. So buy a decent computer, or if you don't want to spend a whole lot of money on a computer, you can buy an external sound processor, which I think they're down to probably like $100 now for a USB to stereo. And what that is basically it's a USB. You plug it into your USB port, and then it actually has a stereo mini out or RCA out, and then that goes into your Hilton Center mixer or whatever you're using to call your dances with. So So what I kind of want to do is, rather than just focusing just on mobile phone, I kind of want to talk about calling from a bunch of different devices. This is probably the smallest screen that you'll call from. The next size up from that is, this is an Android, or excuse me, yeah, this is an Android tablet. This is a Kindle Fire. This is 50 bucks. 50 bucks. And I'm pretty sure this particular one does not have Square View on it. But this is 50 bucks. I think I bought this at Best Buy. It works. You just, again, go to the Play Store, download Square View. You can get it on there.
Did you use that one?
And this one will work.
Has a good enough sound
Yeah,
card?
that one actually did have a good enough sound card. This is the one of the original Kindles. And the buttons keep moving around, and I can't remember where they're at. So on this one here, I actually have. I think one of the kids was on this one. It's got cut the rope running. So this one here, I actually have Square View. So again, the apps show up in the top. Tap on Square View, pull it up. A little bigger screen, a little easier to see than looking at a tiny little phone. But again, for 50 bucks, you know, you've got a nice portable app. You can sync your music to the cloud, which is what I do. All of my music is backed up. Rem next door was talking about backing up your music. Make sure you back up your stuff. All my music, and I'll get into this in a minute, all my music is on my machine at home, backed up on an external drive, but then I also back it up to Microsoft OneDrive, which is free. I don't remember how high the free storage, but just go to OneDrive.com and you can sign up for a free account. There's also Dropbox. There's also, you guys use OneDrive? I don't know what you guys use.
Dropbox.
There's Dropbox. There's iCloud if you're on the Apple side. All that stuff all syncs your music. The good thing about it is then you can just kind of have your music anywhere you need it, whenever you need it. Same thing on this one. You just, you know, same interface. You hit the Q button. You pick a song. You tap on it. Hit play. And it starts playing. And again, it's pretty straightforward. Same thing with this. If you want to set a loop, you hit the start point. I want it to start looping there, and it'll highlight that right there. And I'm sorry I can't get this up on the screen. There was a way to do it, but there were so many working parts I didn't know if it was going to work or not, so I decided not to do it. So I'm just going to kind of make this interactive. Tap the second loop button, tell it to loop, and then it just jumps back and does the loop. So again, I know I'm going really fast, but I want to get to the point where I'm answering questions that people may have. Same thing here. You can queue up queue up your next song so that you're all ready. So when your pattern song ends, you can jump right into your singing call. Same thing that you can do on Square View. Same thing that you can do on this other device here. So that's from a tablet, from a phone.
Now there's a certain amount of music that's stored on that. You don't have to go to the cloud to use it.
No, I'll keep it locally, or I'll just keep 2 or 3 of my singing calls and patter songs on my phone. Well, nowadays with these phones and the memory card slots on it, shoot, you can put 32 gigs or 64 gigs on your phone. Be careful with that though, because if you put a 32 or 64 gig card on your phone, it does tend to slow things down a little bit because it's a lot of data for this little phone to be reading through and trying to index and keep track of where all those files are. So it will slow your phone down a little bit. So that's an Android device. This is an Android device. This tablet here I'm not going to show right now, but this is the one that I just bought. And this is and we're kind of bleeding edge right here is what I'm doing. So for those of you who have Windows 10, that's running Windows 10 Home on there. And, believe it or not, I will log into it, and right there, for 99 bucks, I got Square View ready to go. Now, as an experiment, this is an experiment, I don't recommend you do this, as an experiment, I set up Square View on OneDrive, which is the cloud service that you can back up all your files to. So I actually installed Square View onto my OneDrive account, on my home machine. Then, Rob's like, oh, I like this. So then I turned around and I said, okay, this is running Windows, so it's got full Windows features. You know, there's start button. You know, start button brings up the start just like Windows and everything else. So I says, okay, well, let's tell it to sync that drive that's got Square View in it. So I did. I told it to sync it, waited until it was finished, and lo and behold, and I only added a couple songs on this, but the songs that I added showed up on here because everything's self-contained. All my markings that I had for all my songs, as far as for my tempo, my volume control, my loops, everything all showed up in here. This is why I'm not as excited. Rem asked me to do this and talk about this, but this to me personally, seems like a better way to go because now I've got it all right here. I mean, everything that I got at home, I got on here, and if for $100, what the heck?
What
And
brand
what
name
is
is that?
This is a Windows 10 tablet. Now, don't ask me the brand name. Don't ask me the brand name because I really don't know. Notice it doesn't have a keyboard, but there is a keyboard button, so you can pull the keyboard up and everything. But
Or
But-
get a Bluetooth.
or get a Bluetooth keyboard, or you know however you want to do it. But the thing that I thought was pretty slick was the fact that I maintain it on my home machine, and then I just keep this in sync, keep it charged up, keep it plugged in, and it'll just automatically sync. Before I go someplace, I just look on it. It's like, yep, we're ready to go. And 20 gigs, I think is about what the storage is on. I don't have 20 gigs worth of singing calls. I don't know anybody's got 20 gigs worth of singing. Why are you looking at me like that, Christian? I'm just giving you a bad time. Nobody's got 20 gigs worth of singing calls. I mean, depending on the file size, they may be 3, 6 to 12 to, some of them are upwards of 15 megs, but nobody's got 20 gigs worth of singing calls. If they do, they're probably illegal. And we don't want to do that. So again, I've got all my list, all the features of SquareView are on here. Now what I haven't done is the ultimate test for me will be to see if I can run Cedar on this. Kevin's shaking his head.
I think so.
I don't think so either. I think it's just, Cedar's pretty powerful, there's a lot of stuff going on. This is fairly lightweight. So I think that this is probably as far as I'm going to take it. I'm going to try, of course. but so far as of right now, I haven't done that.
Let me know.
I will let you. I will let you know, and I may even put together a little video and show how it works, and how I did that. So you're on Android. Have you downloaded SquareView?
Yeah.
Okay, and what are some of the challenges that you've had with it?
I've only used it for demonstrations so far.
So when you go out and like to do a street event or a demo or something with a square and
Teaching callers.
okay,
So
just
anytime
to
I've
show
used it,
callers
yeah.
how it works. Okay, so you've done the
Sort of
same.
keeping it as my backup. The challenge I'm having right now is trying to figure out how I connected it to my laptop because I want to cut down the number of songs that I've got on it
Right.
to ones that I'm more likely
So you've got too many
use.
songs
I've got
on
800 and some songs on it.
On your phone?
On the phone.
Oh, so you want to peel all those off. So how'd you get them on there then?
I don't remember.
You don't remember.
I connected it
Synced it.
to
You
my
did a sync.
laptop.
You probably did a sync between
Yeah,
the two of
I
them. Yeah.
connected it and I transferred them over and I
So,
don't remember how I
I'll show
continued
you, I mean, after if we get through all the questions there, I'll show you, man, I'll take my phone and I'll plug it in and I'll show you how I pull those files off of there. And it's actually pretty easy. And you'll probably never plug it into your computer again after that, right? More than likely, right? Okay,
Yeah.
do you have SquareView on yours or no?
I have nothing on mine, that's
So,
what I'm hearing.
SQVIE.
Well, I have an iPhone though.
Okay, so you have an iPhone, so that won't work for you, but
Tempo slow-mo.
Tempo Slow-Mo, free from the App Store. So Tempo Slow, SLO or SLOW?
I don't remember. I don't have an iPhone anymore. SLOW though, I think.
Tempo Slow-Mo, like Tempo Slow Motion, I'm assuming.
Exactly.
Tempo Slow-Mo. And you're on Android, it looks like, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so have you done SquareView on yours?
No, I didn't realize it was here, so it will be loaded before very long.
Well, there you go. And it's super, you already kind of know how to use it, so that's the cool thing is like, why reinvent the wheel? I already know how SquareView works. You know how to put the markers in, you know how to do the loops and everything. Now, what I haven't tested, and I will at some point take it a step further, is Android phones will also run, sorry Apple people, but I'll try and equate it to the Apple side. Android phones will also run OneDrive. They also, I believe this also, and maybe you guys can confirm this for me, I believe this uses an M3U file for the playlist. So what an M3U file is a playlist, so you're confirming that it does use an M3U file?
I haven't actually tried that part.
So what my theory is, I don't know if this is going to work or not, and I haven't tested. I only got it tested to this tablet. What my theory is that in theory I should be able to set up that same M3U file that I set up for singing calls, patter calls, Christmas, New Year's, etc., etc., etc. Sync that to OneDrive, have that show up in here, and then I could even have my same playlist on here that I have on here and that I have on there. Haven't tested it, don't know if it'll work. I'll let you guys know. So that's kind of my goal is to try and get to that. Now you're on Android, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're running SquareView or something else?
Square.
Okay,
I've got
You're not running
Android, but I'm not.
you're not running anything yet?
Oh, I got it on my laptop.
You got SquareView on your laptop, so, and the great thing about SquareView is it's free. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just,
Yeah.
you know, just go and download it, and he's made it free to everybody, and he's updating it too. It's not one of these programs
Yeah.
that's gotten stale and it's like, oh man, it's, you know, I mean, the cool, when I started seeing all the fade-ins and fade-outs, like, wow, he's adding features that I'm actually gonna use, which is kinda cool. And you're Android,
Android, but I haven't loaded it on.
hasn't loaded it yet, and you're Android, and you have, and you're Android, and you have, and you're, so,
But I'd use Dance Master.
on your phone?
No,
On your laptop?
yeah.
So, would you ever have a need to, to call or queue from your phone or call from your phone? Because you use a Dance Master to Square Dance call and queue too, right?
I don't call. I'm a queuer.
Okay, so you're only queuing, okay.
So, but yeah, I could see where it could be useful,
Yeah,
but I haven't checked on Dance Master.
because you can also put the lyrics / cue sheet right onto there and it'll
Yeah.
open it up just like that, and just like
Yeah.
SquareView, same thing. It doesn't care as long as you feed it the
But
file.
it's a lot smaller print.
Well, as I said, then you have to get, well, but that's why I said, you get something like this, which is a little bigger and you don't have to hold it quite so far out.
Magnifying glass
And you
is
can-
bigger than the phone.
And you, yeah, exactly, and you can do that. Greg, what do you use?
On my Android, I use an app called Maple.
Maple. I've actually heard of that one. I think you actually told me about that.
Yes, and to migrate everything, I use Double Twist, which is just syncs between your computer and your phone.
So Maple has pitch adjustment
Yeah,
and loop.
it's very similar.
Okay, is that one free too?
Yes.
Okay, so write that down. If you don't like SquareView, you can try Maple. Available in the Play Store. I'm assuming.
Equalizer, speed, pitch, and you can loop and everything.
Okay, so I'll ask the question, why that rather than SquareView?
I
You didn't know SquareView
I've never
existed?
used SquareView.
You never used SquareView at all? Okay, all right. Just curious. Bill,
Mine's on my iPod.
you use an iPod, and what are you using to play on your iPhone with right now? Anything?
No.
Nothing yet? So,
iTunes.
Yeah, iTunes.
well, but you can't do speed adjustment with iTunes, at least, is there an add-on? Again, I'm not an Apple guy, so I'm kinda asking these questions, because I don't know. Is there an add-on?
Like a slow downer,
Slow down
something
there?
like that.
Is that, that's an add-on
Yeah,
for, that you add on to your iPhone?
probably.
Okay. So, Maple, and then Double Twist?
Double Twist is
Double
the syncing.
Twist is a syncing tool. So what's the syncing tool mean? So, and Phil had to jump in here, but do you do that wirelessly or with a cable?
Wireless.
Okay. So what that allows him to do is he's got files on his computer or in the cloud, wherever they happen to be, and files on his phone, and he uses Double Twist to keep those folders in sync. So when he buys a new singing call, assuming he'll buy it on his computer, that folder that he's got on his computer will just, does it automatically show up or you tell it to? It just automatically shows up on his phone, so he doesn't have to think about it.
Because
So
I set it up that way.
because
But
it's
you
set
can
up
do it
that way.
manually.
So you can do it manually. Same thing with OneDrive, and if somebody wants, I can show you kind of how OneDrive works
I
too.
have OneDrive on here too, so.
So you got OneDrive, so you
That
get,
was my first plan, but
That
then I
was your
found
first-
Double Twist.
so what OneDrive does is cloud storage from Microsoft. You get, I think, gig free or 10 gigs free or something like that, just like whatever. They're one limited at one point and they scale that back. But again, cloud storage that basically I can sync this, with pretty much everything in this stack over here, and it'll sync to Apple, not just Microsoft. Microsoft knows that Apple's another product out there that people are using. So the good thing about that is that if he buys a song and he wants to use it at a dance, he doesn't have to think about it, it just shows up on his phone. I mean, right? I mean,
Right.
within minutes, probably, usually, right?
Well, as soon as I'm within my Wi-Fi network.
As soon as you're with, so you've got yours set up to only sync on Wi-Fi. And the reason for that is if you just happen to drop a very large file in there, like a video clip or something like that, you download it, it's gonna suck up all your bandwidth and then you're gonna overage charges on your cell phone and everything. So he's got his kind of set to only over Wi-Fi, which is free. Any other questions? Because I want to kind of do an interactive here. If people have questions, or I can kind of walk you through how to get it installed and set it up and queue up songs and all that. No questions? No questions?
Well, now I have SquareView.
Okay, now you have SquareView. Well, there we go.
Is that a question?
No, well, that's great. It's super simple. I mean, it's just super simple to use, and I don't like, you know, it's just real easy to go about.
So how would you go getting the music into this?
So there's a couple ways to do it. Where I buy all my music, and I haven't quite figured this out yet either. So I mean, I'm open to suggestions too. But I buy all my music from Amazon, and then what I do is I actually take my square dance music and I push it up to Amazon. So all my square dance music actually lives on Amazon server as well. I have it on OneDrive too, but it all lives on Amazon.
And they'll back up and
Well, yeah, well, and my phone itself has an Amazon account on it. Not this one, my other one does. My phone has Amazon on it, and I use Amazon to basically, as I open it up, it just downloads a new song onto my phone. Same thing, only on Wi-Fi, because I don't want to get overage charges. So that's how I get it on my phone. The other way that we can get it, and actually this might be good, we can kind of walk through how to pull those songs off of your phone. I'll take my phone. I won't use yours as anything, because I might drop my phone or your phone. We don't want to crack your phone, so we'll just crack mine more. So I'll plug the cable in and show you how you can kind of navigate to that, and I'll actually pull a couple songs off of my phone just so everybody can kind of see that. Be careful, because you're literally connecting to the quote hard drive inside your phone, so you can do some damage if you start deleting files out of the wrong spot. So you got to be super careful. So there's really a bunch of different ways that you can call off your phone. So now, where's it all going? I think we'll see something similar to maybe a stripped down version, not necessarily Cedar, but something similar to Cedar that you'll actually be able to call off your phone. Maybe some tie-in from Tam Nations to your phone, to your music player, and you'll be able to cursor through your calls and see where the square is supposed to be or whatever. I mean, I think we'll get to that, but I think we're way down on that. Anybody have any other questions?
So once it's on your phone, do you have to go through a special process to get it into into SquareView?
No.
It's just like read
No, it'll just automatically appear there?
Well, it doesn't automatically appear there. You hit the Q button,
add it to your
and then
playlist.
and it shows
Whoa.
up as music, because it's going to scan. It's going to look for all the music on your phone. Look for everything.
We'll look
Now,
for music.
be careful, because when it looks for music, it's looking for MP3 files. So all your ringtones, if you have your voicemail on your saved to your phone, be very careful. Don't accidentally cue that up for the start. Hey, honey, how you doing? You know, oops, hold on. So just kind of word of caution. The other thing that you'll find is the files may come up with some weird kind of names, because that's just the way that they get downloaded onto your phone. So, like for instance, I'm looking. This is primarily just leftover songs from my Amazon when I had it on this phone. This is my work phone, but all the file names are kind of have all these extra characters in front of it, so they don't necessarily, they're not going to sort right. Now, can you search? Yeah. So for instance, if I search for, well, let's search for Lady, yeah, I'm sure Lady Gaga shows up.
Is it like MP4s?
You know, I haven't tried. That's a good question. I have not tried. I don't know if it will do MP4s or not.
I know they don't do waves. I've tried.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, it will not.
Yeah.
That's correct. So here, yeah. So the only version I have is not Lady Gaga, but you can totally search. You can also do directory. So for instance, typically Amazon downloads all their music into a single folder on your computer or on your phone, so you can browse that folder. So for instance, usually on a Android type device, if I go to DCIM and I've got mine set up for, oops, do it again. Hold on, sorry. Q directory. Normally on your SD card, if you've got the little storage card, most of these phones come with 32, 64 gigs, and then you can add another 16, 32, 64 in one of the slots on the sides. In my case, mine's called EXT. Mine's called SD card, and then if I browse through that, I can browse down to downloads, media, music. There's my music folder, and then all my music is sitting inside of a folder. And typically, it sorts by artist. So with Amazon anyways, it creates a new folder for every single artist. So on mine, if I browse into the artist folder, I've got AC/DC, Alan Jackson, Andy Grammer, Avicii. Yeah, it's like my music's all over the map, but that's just where I'm at. You probably already kind of figured that out. So I could browse by folder, go pick a folder, grab the song, add it in, and play it. And again, make sure that you've tested this before you try and call from it, because there's nothing worse than getting up there and you're cranking the volume all the way up on somebody else's PA just to get your phone to play out. So.
Or carry a little Hilton booster.
Or carry the little Hilton transformer booster, which will allow you to boost that volume up. So, who's actually called from their phone? Just a tip. I've done it once or twice. I've done it once or twice. Just to do it, just to see if it would work. And it's kind of, for me anyway, it's kind of like, ooh, I don't know. It feels kind of weird to me. Doesn't it feel weird? It just feels weird to me. I don't know why. Anybody else call?
Yeah, I actually ended up having to do about 3/4 of a dance through my phone.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm still with the old big CDs.
Oh, the records?
Yeah.
Oh.
And
I've heard about those.
and my needle had problems,
Oh, wow.
and so my new needle that I put on broke.
Oh, no.
So I was out everything. So I just pulled out my phone, and I had about 10 singing calls and about 3 patter records.
And you were
loaded onto it.
really glad you had those on there that night.
And I used the patter records, and then I started using the singing calls as patter, and whatever I had, my entire program went out the door. 'Cause,
Right.
like, okay, well.
You still had it.
Yes.
But you
and
had a
that was-
program to
Yeah.
adjust to at least.
Yeah, at least I had that, but
So you
it's definitely interesting.
call off your phone at all, or
I have
just train, you said, just train?
Yeah, I've plugged it in to make
You-
sure it works, but
Have
that's.
you used your phone at all, or no? No. Rob, have you had to use yours at all?
No, I don't have any music load on.
I've used mine, I think, once, maybe twice. I know you guys call off your phone, right?
We
So-
call off
so-
our phone as much as we call
So
off
what,
the laptop.
so kind of help, and again, I wanted this to be, give me an example of, walk me through, you're gonna call a guest tip at Kevin's dance.
Okay.
What do you do before the dance, knowing that you not always, may get to call, right? It's a privilege. You may get to call at Kevin's dance.
Depends how I feel.
Depends on how he's feeling about it. So what would that process,
Right, huh?
you know, you slip him a 20 before the dance, whatever it takes. What does that process go through? What do you go through to get ready to call? Let's say you're going to call a whole tip at one of Kevin's dances. What do you do?
So I,
Why don't you come up here? And
Sure,
again, I'm
sure.
going to use these guys, so at least within range of the camera, so they can kind of.
So-
We'll stand over there.
there's 2 different music selection areas. There's this music button right here. You probably can't see it very well, but then there's this cue button for queuing music. The first thing I'll do is I'll press the music button to select my patter song, and then I'll use the cue button to select my singing call. So I'm going to go to,
Square, correct?
yes, this is still Scorpio. I'm going to go to my singing call, or my patter area, select my patter song. Now my patter song is selected, and then I'll just go hit the cue button.
And how are you organizing your music on yours? You setting up directories, or are you doing playlists?
I actually have directories that, I know where everything is, so I hit directory. I don't just search for the music. I have a directory, basically I have an all instrumentals folder for all my singing calls and an all patter folder for all my patter songs. And I go into my all instrumentals for my singing calls. So now that I've already selected my patter song, I'm going to go into all singing calls and select something. So up at the top, at the moment, I would have something selected for patter, and then at the bottom in this queue area, I would have something selected for a singing call.
So let me ask the same question that your brother asked me. How did you get that music onto your phone, and how did you get those structures organized?
So on my computer, I already have a file structure. I have one big folder with all of my singing calls and individual folders with every piece of information pertaining to each individual singing call. So there's a folder for each singing call.
Okay.
And then there's another folder at the top that says all instrumentals. And so that has all of the MP3 files for each singing call.
Okay.
And I take just that all instrumentals folder and put that on my phone.
And how do you get it to your phone?
I plug it in through
You plug it in and drag it.
yes, I
And how do you, so because kind of part of it is that you look at this folder structure, and it's like, I mean, for instance, on mine, I'll read you the folders. ACCT, cache, config, D, EFS, blah, blah, blah. How do you know what folder to put your music in?
So Okay, so Android.
I'm putting him on the spot, by the way, too. I don't think he knew I was gonna push him this, but I know he knows how to do it, so.
So, in Android, if you just open up any of your Android hard drives, you can scroll down and find a folder that's called Music. All of them have it. If you're running Android, you can open your hard drive and find a folder called Music. And this is where your phone stores all of its music, so this is where I put my music.
Keep talking, I'm gonna show that.
So then I open the music folder, and I have all my regular music. Inside of that I have a Square Dance folder, and then inside of that I have my all instrumentals and all patter folders. And then inside of those I have each individual file. And so basically all my files are indexed exactly the same way as they are on my computer. I just don't have as much on my phone. I just have the important stuff on my phone.
Perfect. So, I know you guys can't see this, but, so what I've done is, and if you want to look at it, you can. So what I've done is I've taken my USB cable, plugged it into my computer. Up on here I've got, and I don't have the right cable to connect to here. I thought we were going to have VGA, but we don't. Anyway, long story short, I don't have that. Actually, here, let me do this. I can change the resolution. Just make it bigger.
Really, really big.
Really big.
I have a cable if you want.
You have an adapter though?
No, I just have an HDMI cable.
I'll make it a little bit bigger. So on mine, I've got two folders here. One that says card, and that's that memory card. I added an additional memory card to this. But I have another one that says phone. That's the hardwired, soldered in memory that's just built into the phone right out of the box when you get it. So I would probably store mine on the card, but I want to kind of go with what Christian said because it makes it real simple. So I'm going to tap on the phone folder, and exactly what he said, if I go through and look, and I don't know if you guys know this or not, if you single click on any folder in here and then just press the key of the folder that you're looking for, M, it'll take you to the M. So that jumps me to the M's. If I look over here, I've got a folder right here called Music. And this is the exact same thing that what he does. So he'll take, so rather than have a folder called AC/DC, etc., you've got a folder called Singing Calls Instrumental, correct? So he takes that singing call off of his computer, finds it wherever he keeps it on his computer, and just drags it into this folder. And how do you keep those in sync? Do you just basically, your computer is your master copy and you just overwrite whatever's there every time?
Yes,
okay.
that's exactly how I do it.
That just makes it a little bit easier. So you might get some pop-ups that say, do you want to overwrite these files? And you just say yes to all and just let it do its thing.
And it takes
It doesn't
less
take
than
that long.
You know, it takes about a minute for me to update everything on my phone.
Right. So not a long time. So whereas Greg, on the other hand, goes one step further. He does his with Wi-Fi using that double twist tool. And what he does is his just automatically syncs. He drops it on there. He does it wirelessly. It shows up. Same thing. One's automated. One's not. Mine's automated where I use OneDrive and mine just shows up on all my
Mine
drives.
just keeps adding.
And yours just keeps
So if
adding.
I
So it doesn't have to
delete-
recopy it every time. It just does it
But
once.
if I've deleted it off here, because I
It's
didn't want
gonna-
it, the next time I'm on Wi-Fi, it puts it back
It
on.
puts it back on. Whereas Christian doesn't care, he just says, give me everything, I'll take it all, and then he just kind of picks. So as you can see, I've got all these folder structures here. His folder structure would look a lot smaller, because what he's doing is he's got instrumentals, he's got patter, and then probably got one other folder for vocals. So so called side, right? I'm assuming, okay.
Yeah.
Or the called side, which is what we used to call it, but I don't know what we call it that. It's not the called side of what? It's kind of like dial a number, you know, we still use these things to say, we're gonna ask something, Kip?
So you keep your instrumentals, both patter and singing calls in the same file?
Not in the same file, not in the same folder, no. They're
Not in the same
in folders that are next to each other, so I have to go up one if I want to change from patter to sing call.
Okay.
And there's actually, I can show you real quick how to do that, how to go up one in SquareView. You just hit this parent directory button at the top, and it'll go up one level to where you can see both again. So there's the vocals, then I can go back out of that and to patter. And then I come back out of that, and I can see everything.
Okay.
Let me throw something out there, because I think, CALLERLAB's kind of going through some experiments and stuff like this. This right here, what you're doing, to me, seems like this would be really good stuff for CALLERLAB to actually record some online videos and post them to kind of show people how to do stuff. Do you I mean, is that, I think that's something like, None of them are in the room, but,
Probably a lot of callers would be afraid of it,
do you think so?
the older callers.
Okay. But I don't know,
if
Bill.
they're-
Sorry, that was bad. What do you think, Bill? What do you think, Kevin?
If they're already using SquareView on their laptop, and you've got a phone, you're used to your phone, it's not gonna be hard.
Right,
And if you're a caller, you're probably gonna wanna do it anyway, so, you know.
so maybe
It
these are,
would, I don't think it would scare anybody.
Oh, I think it would scare some, but probably not a whole lot.
I think it might be something good, I think
But
this would be something good
it'll
to
be
do.
less scary for those who aren't as familiar with it if they have a video that they can follow.
Step by
and-
step.
Yeah, so they can see what's
I
happening.
can tell I'm creating work for somebody, but I don't
Well,
know.
but what about not only that, now let's go to the iPhone, with
Right.
the other program.
With the other program.
Slow-mo. Yeah.
So, slow-mo,
Slow-mo,
you know,
yeah.
it'd be nice to see something on that.
It would, I agree.
Because that's what I'm gonna carry.
Yeah,
That's, everything I have
is that,
is either Mac, no, everything I have at home is either Windows or Android, but work gives me an iPhone, and that's the only phone I'm gonna carry at this point. So-
Okay,
And
so-
I can use it at my will, I have authorization to do that. So-
and it might even be helpful, okay, so you're on an iPhone, but everything else is Windows, so maybe if you can install OneDrive on there and have it sync the stuff, because you've already got, what do you call off of, used to call it? Do you use SquareView?
I use
or-
SquareView.
You use SquareView, so wherever you put your music in SquareView, it'd be nice to get that onto your phone
Yep.
and kind of go through.
All that
And the
music is
cloud.
on here right now, I've never used that app to,
So you already have your music on there?
yeah, all my music's on here.
Okay, well then you're.
Well, not all of it.
Well, but
Music-
what you need.
Music that I would want if I had to go to Kevin's dance and say, oh, would you call it tip?
Yeah.
It's on here. There's probably, I'm guessing there's probably 60 singing calls and maybe 30 patterns on here.
And if there's something that you want, that's the great thing about the cloud, if there's something that you wanted to call that wasn't on there,
I just
you can
go
reach up to the cloud and pull it down.
Yeah, and I use Dropbox, so.
Yeah, which is, so Dropbox, like I said, you know, cloud service, cloud storage, Dropbox, OneDrive, iDrive, and there's a couple of Box, I think Box.net or Box.com is another one. There's a bunch of multiple drive services that do all this syncing and pull files back and forth. So there's one example, there's another example, there's another example. So, but I think fitting all these pieces together and how they work, like I said, yeah, it's not just a phone. I mean, this is a computer. This really is a computer. It's not just a phone. We're
So
calling
I guess, question, does the OneDrive also work on the Apple computers?
Yes. Yes.
OneDrive is generic.
Yeah. Though you can run it on. I don't know if there's a Linux version, but I don't think anybody's calling off a Linux here.
Because it's more of a browser.
It's cloud
Because at one
storage.
time I was
Use the
considering
browser to get-
an Apple, and somebody said, well, you can't run SquareView, you can't run this, so you just gotta take your music in and you're stuck with one speed, one tempo.
Oh no, not on a Mac.
Yeah.
Not at all. I mean, there's even on a Mac, like a PowerBook or an iMac or something like that. There's software that you can use to adjust the tempo. There's like I said, there's DJ software.
DJ. Yeah.
And I wish I should have. I meant to ask Gunnar, but Gunnar's got software on his Mac that he uses, and I think he calls off of a tablet. Pretty sure, doesn't he? I think he calls off a tablet and an iMac or a PowerBook or something like that. So, and even if you did, like, and I think Jack Harden did this at one point. He had a Mac, but then I think he was running Windows software on top of his Mac, and then he ran Cedar inside of that. So you can use one of the emulation software to run Windows software on top of a Mac operating system, and that works too.
Mac started putting both in at one point.
Yeah, at one point they were installing both operating systems.
Oh.
So, do you want me to? So basically, I'm
Well,
right.
that's basically what I-
I'm here, there now.
Yeah.
So you go into your music folder. So basically, you plug your
So
phone
how
in.
do you get from
So
charging mode?
so basically you plug your phone in, and my phone right now, this is an Android, this is running version 4 I think, but it says connected as a media device. So I plug the cable in, connected as a media device, and then it's going to show up over on here. My phone's name is Samsung, I took the default, SGHI 747. So again,
So that's the same.
I'm looking at phone right now, so there's a phone folder there. Double click on that, and then I browse down to that music folder. And then that music folder,
Yeah,
that's
so
listed
that's
everything
what I
there.
must
And then
have
you
done
can
when I first got the
yeah,
phone,
and you
huh?
can just go into there and pull it, delete whatever you want. Now, before you do that, like Rem said before, do you have all this music backed up someplace else before you delete it? Okay, just, I don't want you to call me and say, I did what you said, where'd my music go? No, it's not my fault, sorry.
Yeah, no, I've already got it on, but I couldn't remember how it
ended up on
because
there.
this is when I first got the phone, I connected it
Yeah.
up and it worked.
Yeah,
I transferred it, and I have the same directory structure as I have on my laptop.
right, well, there you go.
Well, if it's listed like this, you can easily just go ahead and make a playlist. That's the easiest
Yeah.
workaround, since it's already there.
Right, it's all, yeah, it's all.
So does the Android use the playlist that you've got, that you
That,
can make?
in theory it should, but what I have, and I haven't tested, I don't know if you've tested, because you're not using SquareView. I haven't tested that, and that's actually a test I wanted to do, and I just didn't get to it, but I think that the challenge may become is, okay, well on this it sits in phone, music, folder name, file name, whereas on, on the Windows computer it's sitting in C:\/ blah, 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 blah. So, and I don't know if it looks for the relative position of the file name or the absolute position, or I'm not sure, I don't know how it looks at that.
'Cause I set up a subfolder called program files, and then divided that into the years, because I do a program for every dance.
Okay,
And then I save it for that club, the date,
right.
and it was getting kind of long, so I started splitting them up into years.
That's actually good. I mean, I'll test it and see, and I'll put it in my notes when they send the email blast back out to. I'll test it and see. I think as long as if I were to put a playlist in here, I think, and as long as the directory is relative and it can navigate up and down from there, down or up,
Yeah.
I think it should work. And that'd be great, because then you just basically, have you tested that?
The playlists?
Yeah.
No.
You haven't tested it either? Come on, what's wrong?
I just use the queuing. I only need 2 songs at a time.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. I mean, and that's all I'm using it for too, is a guest tip area.
They should make it so you can just queue your whole playlist.
It
and
sure would be
make
nice.
it in SquareView, just
It
like
sure
on the
would be.
PC.
Well, and that's why I'm thinking, so here's my ideal, if you could get the playlist to work with that same folder structure and OneDrive, then basically these two sit side by side, they're identical. I mean, that's the ideal, if that's what you want, if you want to be able to use either one of them, ideally. Greg's almost there, but he doesn't use the playlist, he just finds the song, adds it, and boom, he's ready to go.
Well, the neat thing about Maple is it also has a history. And so, the
Oh,
most
okay.
current ones, or the ones that you've used, are in like a playlist, but it's called a history.
So see, SquareView doesn't, the SquareView mobile version doesn't have that, you play it and it's gone. Whereas like on the screen version, it highlights it in the colors and flips it to a different color as you play it and everything. I mean, for those of you that,
Yeah.
you guys know how it works, but it'll highlight it as you use it, and then you can reset it or whatever. Whereas that's great, because then if you do, it's like, well, wait, I just called it the same club off my phone last month. Oh, can't use that song, I used it last month, so at least you know. Or the same dancers show up at the next dance and you want to change songs. So, answer your question.
Okay, so
You've
that's
got
that.
Mac software now. I know you have SquareView installed.
I'll just have to figure out how to use it,
So
but I have it.
I want to, like I said, I want to make sure that we cover any questions, if there are anything that any ideas, and it's like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? I just want to make sure that we answer any of those questions. And I may not have the answer, but I can certainly research it for you.
Amazing slowdown
Amazing slowdowner
for iPhone.
for iPhone. So that'll take iTunes on a phone.
And it's pitch.
So
speed.
you've got iTunes on your phone, right?
Amazing
No.
slowdown.
You don't? Okay, do you have iTunes at all?
I have an iTunes account, but I haven't downloaded anything.
You haven't downloaded anything,
Yeah.
so I chose to go Amazon because I don't, this is gonna sound strange, okay, this is being recorded, I don't mean this to sound the wrong way, but I don't like the copy protection because it doesn't allow me to move my files around wherever I want them. It's not like I'm breaking the law, but I wanna be able to freely move my files around. Apple, at least at one point, I don't know if they still do, puts a protection on the files so you can't really move them around that much, and to me it's a pain. So that's why I elected to go with Amazon for all my music. Whereas iTunes though, that's a little bit more of a challenge, or maybe that challenge has been removed. Do you guys
Plus
know?
they're downloaded as MP4s.
Plus they're downloaded as MP4s,
But they can be converted to MP3s.
Correct.
correct, but it's an extra
Not
step.
all of them.
Yeah.
If there's copy protection.
I don't know, my
okay.
husband does all of that for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, for me, I know how to do that, but I don't want it. I do IT for a living, so I don't want to do more IT when I get home, support my whole family's network kind of thing. So, where was I going? So basically, simple to me is, if I can get all this stuff working, to me, it's good. So, if you do buy music, you probably buy it through iTunes. If you're an Apple guy, that only makes sense that you would buy it through iTunes. I mean, you can still buy it through Amazon or something else, but just like Rem was talking about next door, figure out what your structure is gonna be for your folders. Sounds like he's got one way to do it. I'll just be honest, I'm just kinda messy. I'll be honest. But I'll just take, wherever it lands on here is where it's gonna go, and then I'll just search for it when I'm ready to use
That's
it.
kinda
I
what
mean,
I
I
do.
use the search feature. I don't, these guys are way more organized than I am. I mean,
I decided I need to be
just
more
to
organized.
prove that, I'll let you look at this. Just to prove that, how much more organized they are than I am. Now watch SquareView won't load because I was doing some changes to it. That's my music list, and it's not organized at all. Kevin's is all nice and organized. All the labels are perfectly. I still work for a living. I don't want to mess with that. There's a song, and actually you'll laugh at what I do. What I actually do, and I think Rob's seen me do this, I'll go over into Amazon on my computer, type in the word, find the song on Amazon, right click, open the folder, and then drag it into SquareView. I don't know if you know this or not, but if you open up SquareView, and I don't know if anybody's ever tried this or not, but if I open up SquareView, and I'll go pick a folder, so I've got a song right here. You literally can take a song and drag it right over into, oh no, it's not going to work on me, is it? Oh sure, make a liar out of me. Oh, I know why, because I'm pulling it off the phone. So if I grab a song from here, drag it over to here, and drop it on there, it'll automatically put it into the top of the queue, and then you can play the song. So if you've got a song in your folder structure on your computer, and you don't have it imported here, and you just want to play it like that, you just drag it over, drop it on there, and then it'll start playing. No, well, what are you laughing about?
I said, I don't know that.
Well,
I just thought that
I did it by
that's on SquareView.
I did it by accident.
Oh.
It wasn't intentional. I was trying to drag some folders around, and really what I saw was, it's like, oh, it's got a plus there. Oh, cool. So, one more little tip or trick that you guys can use. Any other questions? It's getting close to dinner time.
You think so?
Good job, Brett. I think so.
All
I knew there was no way I was going to talk about this for an hour and a half. That just was not going to happen. So, but if you want, feel free to, if you have questions and I didn't know the answer, I know I'm opening myself up. Now, I kind of go back to what Rem said. I'm a little slow, just ask Kevin. I'm a little slow to reply on email. I will eventually get back to you. It may take a while though. So if you want to email me if you have any questions, Kappenman, Kappenman @hotmail.com. And that'll be in the notes from the presentation. So thank you guys for letting me ramble. Thank you to everybody that kind of helped interact.
C-A-P-P?
B-K-A-P-P-E-N-M-A-N. Kappenman.
P-E-N-E-N.
Yeah, Kappenman. Kappenman @hotmail.com with a B in front of it. So, and it'll be in the notes too. So go